What's up, guys? Eli here. Back for a new stuff video. I've actually been wanting to do this one for quite a while, but I've just been putting it off and fucking putting it off. I think it's been over 3 weeks since my last video. Not that that matters. But anyways, we got a bunch of cool stuff here. Kind of really, go with the theme of my last couple, new stuff videos. Just kind of a mix, nice mix of stuff. Kind of encompasses a lot of what I listen to. Pretty excited for this one. It's just a nice mix. It's got, there's some new releases here. There's some, a couple classics that I've been meaning to get. Like, I've just been meaning to own for years and years. And, some shit of my favorite bands. Just releases that I just, have never owned before. Always wanted, but just never had. But yeah, it's a nice mix of stuff. It's weird and nice. Got CDs, got a couple horror movies, a couple 7-inch vinyl records. I guess we'll just start with the movies, get that out of the way. I know most of you probably don't really watch for that. This one here, this is a new movie. I had no idea. I knew nothing about it. Just saw it in one of my local stores the other day. I was like, fuck yeah, I gotta have that. Because I absolutely loved the last installment in the Puppet Master series. So this is, I guess it's like a spin-off of one of the puppets known as Blade. It's got Blade. Sorry about that lighting. As usual, Blade, the Iron Cross. It's a dark cover, but yeah, see that a little better. So yeah, this came out this year. On Full Moon Features, of course. Dude, that last Puppet Master movie, The Littlest Reich, amazing. Honestly, I think it's the strongest Puppet Master movie in the whole series. Easily my favorite. And I'll be honest, not to get anyone down on it, but I watched like 20 minutes of this so far, and it just kind of reminded me of kind of like some of the later period Puppet Master movies that weren't really very good. But, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, so I can't really judge it as a whole. But so far, I'm already missing, some of the shit that they did from the last movie that was just top notch, amazing. I don't think this is gonna really compete with that. Whatever. Not necessarily a horror movie, but easily one of my favorite movies in recent times. Did it come out this year? Nah, it came out in 2019. We have a good Joker. I'm not gonna sit here and spend a lot of time talking about this, other than I'll just give my opinion. I thought this movie was just fucking incredible. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, absolutely top notch. Some of the the way the way that mental illness was portrayed kind of hit home for me, and just kind of this movie kind of means a lot to me in certain ways. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, even if you're not a big comic book fan or a big Batman fan, Joker fan, still watch it. It's just a fucking good movie. So next, I'll go with the vinyl. That way, all you vinyl nerds can go home early. You can quit after this. We got, this is what, 2010? Nah, it's gotta be newer than that. I can't remember. It's from some years back. Not a long time back, but not super recent either. So, black metal band, Zabalda. At least that's how I've always pronounced it. Black metal out of Mexico. One of the earliest black metal bands out of Mexico, and definitely one of the best. They had an album, I think in '94, just fucking stellar, raw black metal, amazing. So anyways, they kind of made a comeback some years later with this, I think either a demo or an EP. But yeah, I won't pronounce that, obviously. I won't be able to. Came out on Nuclear War Now, as you can see. It's not bad. It's I don't want to get down on it. It's definitely not as good as their classic debut album. And actually, they put out a full length in the last year or two that I think was actually pretty decent. A little bit better than this, but you know, for comeback material, a band kind of getting their gears going again, it's not bad. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Picked this one up from Nuclear War Now while I was at it because had to have this. Split between Australia's Sadistic Execution and Doomed and Disgusting. Doomed and Disgusting is Dave Slave from Sadistic, his solo kind of like a doom metal project. Pretty good stuff, actually. Kind of black, doomy, really creepy sounding shit. See that a little better out of the sleeve. And so, as you can see, the Sadistic Execution side is there. It's a Spiral 1991 demo. Very fucking cool. I'm a big fan. Very big fan. And to be honest, I've never heard this demo. So, lame that I haven't ever heard it before, but hey, now I have it. So yeah, Nuclear War Now Records. You can get one pretty cheap if you want a copy. There's the labels. Very cool. Good stuff, man. Recommended. Alright, move on to the CDs. These are in no order whatsoever, so it's just going to be an onslaught of randomness. So, an album here, this is definitely a classic in the diehard fans of like doom and sludge and stuff are I'm going to call this a mandatory classic. I like this album. I've heard it in the past. I'm not a massive fan, but I think it's cool, that I picked up a copy. It was a random find. Like I said, I'd heard it. I figured, why not? I do love some doom from time to time. So we have, I think they're from Chicago? I can't remember. American doom metal band, doom, sludge, whatever you want to call it. Grief, with Come to Grief from '94. I can't remember if this is their first. I think it's like their second album. Might even be their third. This came out on Century Media Records. Just absolutely depressing, nasty sludge doom metal. If you like I Hate God or Burning Witch or stuff like that. Grief is just as nasty. Just the absolute nastiest of doom metal. Mandatory classic right here. Kind of like a very underrated band in Norwegian black metal. This was their first full-length album, and it pretty much was like, I think it was like two of their earlier demos pretty much just mashed together. But we got Maine's Under Ein Blodrod. Blodrod, Maine. Probably not how it's pronounced, but that's how I'm going to say it. This is a Hammerheart pressing. It's not an original, it's like a second or third pressing. I believe Hammerheart did put the album out originally, but this is, like I said, this is a later pressing. But, dude, absolutely mandatory stuff. We all know and love Norwegian black metal, of course. This band this is definitely a cult classic album, but I feel like it's not mentioned probably as much as it deserves. But I think this material can go toe to toe with just about any of the classic, Norwegian black metal stuff. Absolutely. A lot of people know it. I'm not trying to say nobody has heard this, but it should be heard more, I think. This next one is something I've just wanted to own for a long time. I've heard it many times. I have, most of these songs on, like various compilations and stuff, but I've never had this just original pressing. So finally I do, and I couldn't be happier. We have the debut, well, not including like their early demo and single. This is, the first material that a label would put out by Portugal's Moonspell. Under the Moonspell, this is an EP from 94? Is it 94? I can't remember. Put out, this is an original pressing, put out by Adipocere Records out of France, label that put out some pretty cool gems actually back in the day. love that old Moonspell logo. So Moonspell, I don't know if I've talked about them a whole lot. I'm a big fan. I love their early stuff. I love some of their later stuff as well. Cool picture of the guys right there. So in the beginning, in the early days, they were like a raw black metal band. Even by the time they put out their debut full length, Wolfheart, they're already making changes. Their second full length, they were almost like a completely different band. So Under the Moonspell is as black metal sounding as Wolfheart, maybe even a little bit more black metal. Obviously, they would kind of lose their black metal elements as they would progress as a band, which is kind of unfortunate, but they would do some cool stuff in their own right. So yeah, this is a very kind of gothic-y, symphonic at times, folky at times, just really, really cool, unique black metal. If you like black metal and maybe you're not a huge Moonspell fan of their later stuff, don't let that turn you off. Check this out. Check their their early demo stuff, and check out their first full length. If you're a black metal fan and you're more of a purist, you might like some of this shit. I love it. I'm a big fan. Okay, so this one, I picked this up solely on the strength of just a guy that I follow on Instagram, who actually had said this was his favorite album this year. So I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. I knew that my local record store had it. I went there after work one day and picked it up just solely on this guy's recommendation. I'm not going to bash on his personal taste or anything, but I got to say I've listened only once and didn't really do anything for me. I don't know, maybe I like their earlier stuff a little better than this, or maybe it's just not my fucking thing. But we have, I think they're from Russia, Catalepsy, with Terra Mortuus Est. The brand new album on Unique Leader. I would have never picked this up, just based on the cover art. It looks like something from like fucking, Warcraft or something. So yeah, technical, brutal death metal, which is, I knew that it was in that vein going in. And I do like some brutal death metal stuff, and I figured, I could use a little bit more of it in my collection. And I stand by that statement, but I don't know. I don't think, whatever these guys are doing, I don't think it's quite what I would look for in a brutal death metal album, I guess. It's very catchy. It's well played, it's catchy, it's fairly memorable, but it's just, I don't know. I'll listen to it a couple more times. If I don't like it, I'll probably trade it off or something. But so far, I'm not super impressed. Now, this band is a band that, oddly enough, has eluded me all these years. I've never heard them, despite knowing who they are as a band for probably over 20 years, maybe even more. I grew up in the 90s. I liked a lot of that 90s, grunge stuff. And, to this day, I like some of it. I love Soundgarden. I love Alice in Chains. And this is a band that you always hear mentioned, right alongside of those guys. You even hear this band mentioned by dudes, in those bands from that time. Like, everybody loved this band. And I don't know why I don't know why I haven't heard them. I've always meant to, just never did. So we got Mudhoney. I think this is their debut album, self-titled, from 1989, Sub Pop Records. I think this is an original pressing. So yeah, Mudhoney were, a rock band out of Seattle. They came out of that grunge scene. Very, very well loved, even to this day. And I've always meant to check them out. And I don't know, to be honest, it was kind of a gamble. I feel like it's probably definitely going to be something that I would have liked maybe 20 years ago. I don't know if it's something I'll be able to get into now in 2020, but I'm going to give it a shot. So This next one, this one might turn some of you off. You might be like, why the fuck did you buy that? And, a couple years ago, I probably wouldn't have bought this, but I saw it, in my local store. I've heard this a number of times, and I really like it. So I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I'm not buying it brand new, so I'm not really supporting this guy financially in any way. Got the self-titled, I think it's an EP from Mistim. I know, Blake Judd is a fucking asshole. So this originally came out on Battle Command Records, which was Blake's label. This is a 2006 Candlelight pressing. I like a lot of that early U.S. black metal stuff. Mistim, Zasthor, Leviathan. I love that shit, I like a lot of Mistim's early stuff. I even like some of their later shit. I mean, they just were a good band. Like I said, obviously Blake Judd, the train wreck of a fucking dude he is. I will say though, we had talked back and forth just briefly back in the MySpace days. Back when I was I was using MySpace, and I gotta say he was really, really nice to me. This was obviously probably before his drug addiction spiraled out of control. He didn't try to sell me anything. He didn't try to fucking swindle me. He was just very nice and appreciative that I was, a fan of his music. And as a fan, he treated me really, really well. It just goes to show, man, what fucking heroin and shit can do. It can just change. It can change you. It's ruined a lot of lives. I think it's fair to say, and it's sad. I'm not saying I'm giving him a pass or anything like that. He obviously has a lot of wrongs he needs to right, and I hope he does. I hope he redeems himself someday. I think it's yet to be seen, to be honest. But I won't financially support him. I won't buy his new records or anything like that. But I'd like to see him turn his life around, just because. Fuck, why not? All right, this next one I knew very little about. I knew the name. I didn't know this guy had any solo stuff, but grabbed it just based on the name. We got Greg Ginn, solo album, Getting Even. Greg Ginn, you probably, anyone into punk and hardcore is going to know him from Black Flag, guitarist from Black Flag. This is from '93. There's two guys in this band. There's Greg. He plays bass, guitar, of course, and he does vocals. And then he's got a drummer. I've only heard a couple tracks off this, but I thought they were really, really good. This came out on Cruise Records. So any punk fans out there, what do you think? You like Greg Ginn? Is it Ginn or Gin? I don't know. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I need to listen to the record as a whole, but I think what I heard was really, really strong. I liked it a lot. All right, this one, I actually used to own this, and when I kind of did a little purge of my collection like 10 years ago, I got rid of a bunch of stuff. Some of it I don't miss at all, but some of it I do, and some of it I wish I hadn't gotten rid of. And this is actually one of those albums. This is Desert Sessions 9. Came out on Ipecac Records back in 2003. So Desert Sessions is pretty much a project led by Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age and Caius. It's pretty much him and just random dudes that he, friends of his that he assembles. And they would just write and record songs. This is Desert Sessions 9 and 10. So I mean, there's volumes and volumes of this Desert Sessions stuff, and a lot of it's really good. It's real experimental usually. Some of it sounds like Queens of the Stone Age, some of it not so much. Some of these songs became Queens of the Stone Age songs at one point or another. But yeah, it's cool. I don't think I've ever really talked about them on this channel before. I'm a big Queens of the Stone Age fan, big Caius fan too. So, I love this stuff. glad to have this back in my collection. I had a couple other volumes too, so I'm really really hoping I can get those back too at some point. I've been listening to a lot of this guy's work lately. I've picked up a couple of his albums this year, actually within the last couple months. He's been very, very fucking prolific lately, releasing just like 3-4 albums a year, which I said in my last video, and I stand by that, is too much. You don't need to be releasing shit that frequently. We got Italy's solo black metal band, Varden. This is the 2020 full-length Dark and Desolated March, Moribund Records. Haven't listened to it yet, but I've already broke the case. Yeah, man, if you like that, if you like, that classic depressive, black metal that was probably a little more prominent, maybe 10 years ago. Not saying it sounds dated or anything. I'm just saying the stuff was just a little more popular, 10, 15 years ago. But music is timeless in its own right. And, if you like that earlier, Zvastor and Leviathan, stuff like that, definitely check out Varden. I think he deserves more mentions. I almost never hear anyone talk about him. So this next one here, this is actually a Coworkers band. And, if I didn't think it was good, I wouldn't be talking about it here. It's pretty damn good. It's death metal, kind of in the vein of take maybe Incantation with a little bit of Morbid Angel thrown in. And you get Sentient Divide. It's a very dark cover. It's not going to show up well, but Haunted by Cruelty came out just this year. You can get a copy if you'd like. Go listen to it on Bandcamp if you want. It's good death metal. Comes with a sticker. Who doesn't like stickers, right? Good stuff. Another random, record store grab. First of all, I like almost all the bands on this compilation. What I thought would be cool is I thought this year would be kind of a good year to listen to more live records. We take there's a lot of things we take for granted, and right now I'm realizing live shows is definitely something I took for granted, and I miss them. So I'm actually listening to more live stuff lately, just because I can't go to any live shows, and I've been kind of bummed about that. So we have this cool, never heard of it before, but this Out of the Dark live compilation from Century Media Records. So as you can see, it's got Moonspell, The Gathering, Samael, Sentenced, Rotting Christ, and Crematory. Almost all bands that I like. Crematory fucking sucks. Their first album's okay. So yeah, it's just like 2 tracks from each band. Cool booklet. But yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of these bands. I don't love Sentenced, but I do like the early stuff. But yeah, cool, right? Give that a listen soon. This next one, thank you very much to my very, very good buddy Kevin, Full Metal Ginger, for sending this to me. I love this album. I've been wanting to own it for a long time. Just never had a chance to get it, I guess. We got Cancer, Death Shall Rise. Death metal out of England. One of the better bands and one of the better death metal albums to come out of England. This is the second Cancer album. Well, a lot of people like their debut. I always preferred this one, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I think it's, I don't think it's a wildly better written album than their debut, but this album has James Murphy on guitar, and I'm a big, big James Murphy fan. I think any album that he plays on, he really, really adds something special to. He just has, he adds a touch of just class that, you can't get with most people. This is a 2014 Cyclone Empire re-release. The original version probably came out in 91 or something like that. I don't know what label put it out initially, but it's a great album. I'm a big, big, big fan of Greek black metal. Hellenic black metal, if you will. So I I'm always trying to pick up, the better shit out of Greece. I've known about this album for probably at least over 10 years. I've listened to it here and there online, and I've always wanted to get a copy. I'm glad to finally have it. The debut album by Order of the Ebon Hand, with a mystic path to the netherworld. This is I think it's a fairly recent re-release by I never knew how to pronounce this label, Kirk Productions and Armor, I guess you could call it. It's a Greek label. They put out some good shit. If you like early Greek black metal, the better stuff, Varathron and Riding Christ and stuff like that, I think you should definitely look into Order of the Ebon Hand. They have, I think, 3 albums. This is their debut from, I think, initially came out in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I can't remember for sure. They put out an album after that was also pretty good. And then they put out another album, I think like last year, that I heard was pretty decent, but I haven't looked into that. So this was sent to me. I bought a couple CDs off Discogs, and the buyer, very nice of him to throw in a freebie. I've listened to this once. I can't say I'm a fan of it, but I'll listen to it more. Definitely. So this is a split between like 4 or 5 different bands. I have not ever heard of any of them, and they're all from the U.S. They're all from the South, I think, like the Atlanta area or something like that. Most of these bands are all comprised of like the same 2 or 3 dudes. So what we have here is Fetching Items of Power, Volume 1, put out by Blasphemous Mockery Productions. There you have it. I know the lighting is terrible. The lighting is terrible in most of my videos. I'm actually going to make a change in my, where I do my videos. I was starting probably in the next couple weeks. Probably the next video that you see, it'll be different. It'll be different surrounding. It'll be better lighting. I'm making a bunch of changes. So, anyways, back to this. Dude, there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce any of these. So, yeah, if you can read that, or if you want, if you want to know more, just go to Metal Archives, I guess. Type in Fetching Items of Power, and you can check out all the bands that took part in this split. I only gave it one kind of cursory listen. I wasn't blown away or anything, but whatever. So these next 2 CDs are by a band that I absolutely love. One of my absolute favorite death metal bands. Underrated as all hell. From Pennsylvania, we have the mighty Crucifier. Crucifier is kind of Kaz Grant. It's kind of his baby. So Kaz Grant, you might know him from, I know I'm probably not supposed to talk about them here, but Grand Belial's Key. He would join that band, and let's be honest, he would put out some fantastic albums. Crucifier is his baby and his band from earlier on. Crucifier is just like his band that he's always done. He still does Crucifier. He doesn't release. He's not super prolific. He doesn't release albums or recordings real often. But when he does, man, it's always great shit. So this is a compilation from I don't know, in the last couple of years. Iron Bonehead put out the vinyl version, but this was put out by Death Rune Records. So Coffins Through Time, A Morning in Nazareth. Very cool artwork, as you see. So this is a compilation of earlier Crucifier stuff, kind of going from 91 throughout 96 or so. It's great. It's fantastic. I also got this. I can't remember if this one is a full-length album or a compilation as well. But we have Strength. What is it called? Strength, or Stronger Than Passing Time. put out by Death Rune as well. If you haven't heard Crucifier, think some of the best East Coast death metal with some doomy touches and even maybe just a little bit of black metal. You know, think the best of like Incantation and Deterior Rot, stuff like that. If you like those bands, look into Crucifier. Fucking amazing. So, anyways, that's all I got for you for now. I appreciate you watching. Talk to me about any of those CDs, or whatever. Talk to me about the movies. Say hi. Talk to me about whatever. Hope you guys are having a good week. And yeah, like I said, look forward to a better layout for my next video, better lighting, better background, and everything like that. Making some changes. So, but for those of you that have hung in there with me during the bleak, poor lighting days, I appreciate it. Yeah, take care, guys. We'll talk soon. Cheers.